Okay, welcome to another amazing episode of RoD. This week we have Marielle Lee and Richard Lättemägi. Is that right? Lättemägi? Did I get that right?
Yeah, close enough.
Cool. Or Latte Magic, as he sometimes likes to be known, especially when he was in the coffee game. And we're really excited to have them on the show because we love BJJ and we love love. And these guys bring both together. So it's pretty cool. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, okay.
And the reason I didn't want to do the intro, Anton, was I thought you were going to explain that this is episode number 69.
Oh.
And that's part of the reason why we got these guys on.
Happy number.
Richard got super excited about that. He was like, this is the perfect episode for us to come on. So
that's right. I thought we were going lowbrow. You've taken it highbrow. What the hell? Come on.
This is the porn episode.
Yeah. You put it right back down, Kim, right where it needs to be. So
that's it. That's my style. That's right. Good. Yeah. So I'm actually surprised that when I'm out and about or chatting with people, there are people listening to this podcast. So I'm not sure. Should we try and keep it G-rated or?
Nah. Well, how many kids listen? I don't think the only time the kids will ever listen is if we have kids on the show. And I don't think we do it justice if we limit ourselves. And people say fuck all the time, etc. So I think we just
that's right. Okay. Yeah. And we had Young on. We had Young. So,
oh my God. Young.
I haven't listened to her episode, no.
Oh.
I did listen to James Walters mainly just because I really miss him. So
that's
he's on social media anymore, so he doesn't even know. He doesn't know who's listening to that. He doesn't know anything that's going on, really.
Do you know what's going on with James Walters? Like, can we just share with the world? What is he doing? Like,
he's in the police force now. He's doing really well. He's training jiu-jitsu up in Newcastle. He's in love. He's like, life is good. Yeah, but he's not. You know, he definitely misses down here, but he's not missing being on the social medias and all that sort of stuff. He's really kind of just gotten on with his life, and life seems good for him. Yeah, he's loving it.
Yeah, James, if you hear this, can you please call me? It's the same phone number that I always had. It's saved in your phone. Thanks, mate.
Even if he's not on the social medias, though, Anton, like we're on YouTube, we're on Spotify, we're on iTunes. He can still hear this.
I'll send him this link. This is Richard's shout out. This show's about love, and we're sending out a shout out to you, James Walters. Yeah.
I mean, we all love James Walters, so why not?
You can't not love James Walters. But on to you guys, right? So, like, first of all, Estonia, right? Like that's your kind of, that's where you were born. Is that right?
It is where I was born.
You were born. It's where you grew. It's where you started jiu-jitsu. Like your coach who's come out to Australia is like, and I've met this guy. He's an awesome dude. But you actually commenced your BJJ career in Estonia. And what was that all like?
Yeah. So for the first sort of year and a half, I trained back home in Estonia, in Tallinn, the capital, at 3D training, which, you know, was a great gym because it just finished or ended in the sense that COVID kind of, I think, away the gym and whatever. So they finished up as 3D training, but they started a new gym called Estum Jiu-Jitsu. I don't know how to pronounce that. But anyway, the coaches are really good. So Preet's awesome. And there's another guy, Ron, who's even more awesome, but a little bit less known. So yeah, I started there, trained for a year and a half. And then when I came over, obviously started training under Thiago, who's the big boss.
And I remember Preet, he taught me how to grab people's fingers even when you're wearing the gi. Like he just grabs bunches of fingers, right? That's the guy, right? That's the guy we're talking about?
Yeah. Well, yeah, so like you can grab 4 fingers, 3's like a little bit. Yeah, anyway. Yeah. So you can grab fingers, it's all right.
He was totally manhandling. He used my fingers as a grip, and I'd never seen that before. It just blew me away. And I was just like, I've tried to go for it ever since. Like I can't do it like him, but it was amazing. It was a really good lesson for me.
Yeah, if you grab a couple of times, it's okay. Yeah. This is like dirty jiu-jitsu, but it's fine. Yeah.
Estonian jiu-jitsu.
He does a lot of weird stuff, really defensive jiu-jitsu. And I think probably people that follow jiu-jitsu, they may have heard of Preet before because he's got a bit of a cult following because he does things a bit differently. But yeah, it was a good sort of, I guess, basics of jiu-jitsu and fundamental jiu-jitsu. But yeah, obviously most of the time I train here in Australia under Thiago. So he's graded me to blue and purple and brown as well. So he's sort of, yeah. Well, I do stay in touch with the guys back home as well.
I was not aware we were going to go so serious straight on with this, Anton. I thought we were going to go down the love angle.
We're coming back. We're circling back around.
Oh, we're going to circle back around because just for the listeners or a bit of background, Anton has been kind of on about this for several months now, wanting to cover the topic of BJJ dating and BJJ. So I was sort of like, hey, man, I'm not sure that's the best angle that we want to go with, but when we were counting down the numbers and we came to episode 69, these guys are the best couple to come in and talk about this. So we sort of killed two birds with one stone. So I'm kind of wondering, like, how did you guys meet? Tell us about your background, independent of
Joy.
The traditional way, which is Tinder.
Yay.
The
Awesome.
traditional, the old
And then-
way.
Okay, so it is a jiu-jitsu podcast, and then bringing it back around to jiu-jitsu, then how did that come about within your relationship? Was Richard training Mary and you kind of wondered, what is this? Or he introduced you? What was that like?
The first time I'm engaged with jiu-jitsu is he did a renegade choke to me in a park, and it was so effortless. I'm like, oh my God, it's so effortless. I like this technique.
That's cool. So, like, you just met, like, it was your first Tinder date or whatever, and he was
Yeah,
like,
I checked
I'm
her out.
Richard. Let me show you something. Is that like...
No,
Don't you? Is that
he
not
was
like?
quite gentleman in the.
Okay, so
Isn't that
what date
weird?
did he rear naked choke you? Because that is important. Like, that's something we need to know.
After I think 4 or 5.
Okay. So it's
Okay,
appropriate to choke someone on the 4th or 5th date. That's fair enough. I'm down with that. I think
Totally appropriate.
taking notes. Anton's taking notes on this.
Yeah, I'm going to write that down.
Just writing it down with Tinder dates. I don't like, because it's funny when you mention that, Kim, because I felt like we're probably the worst like couple to interview because we totally don't train together at all. We keep the training fairly separate, which I find works really well because then she can do her training, I can do my training, and then, you know, we both come home and we're tired and we sit on the couch and watch TV and don't talk about training. It's great.
That's,
Really?
that is kind of like part of it. Like, it's like a relationship often work. Like if a couple like works together or something like that, you know, and they're in each other's faces 24/7, it often doesn't work. So like, I am fascinated to know how people make training work, because there's all sorts of dynamics, and you know, gyms are full on places. And like, I know that half the time I'm invalidating I get so pissed off when I'm having a shit night at training or something. And like, if I was with my partner, I might say the wrong, you know what I mean? Like, there's all sorts of emotions that come up at training, basically. So I totally get it. And it's a valid way that you both train at the same club, but you often aren't there at the same time. Like, I totally understand that that's a
We
workable
train
way.
together once a week.
Okay.
Yeah, once a week.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Mary had a very illustrious boxing career before starting jiu-jitsu. Do you want to
In
talk about
Hawaii?
that?
Is this back in Hawaii?
Tell us
It just-
about that.
One time when I was doing boxing and my nose kept bleeding, you know, my nose really sensitive. So I sort of have to take a break.
Yeah.
And that's how I start training jiu-jitsu consistently.
So I also you just didn't like the striking because it was getting punched in the face. You're like, screw this. I'm going to do jiu-jitsu.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the same story for me. I totally get that. I understand that. But did Richard suggest it? Like, did Richard go, hey, you should try this thing called BJJ?
Uh,
I got you a gi.
he got me a gift
That's a
before
good
I
subtle
started.
message.
Yeah. What was it? I can't remember. I didn't.
Huh?
Yeah, I think it was her birthday or something, and she
No,
said,
I did something wild and you said, oh, I'll give you a present. Maybe it's the sign that you want me to try it.
yeah. And I
And did
gave it-
you, or did you just still leave the gi untouched? Did you try after that?
It was in my car for 6 months.
Yes. Nice. That was the perfect question to ask you, because I'm sure that definitely is like so much. Like everyone gets a present, they've left. Like I'm surprised you didn't even re-gift it to somebody else, actually, because it's like that kind of thing.
I don't know. I don't know if you've ever driven with Mary, but there's like so much crap in the back, like in the trunk. There's just like hundreds of items that are never going to get used, just like chucked in the trunk. So,
in case anything happens, everything is in the car.
what
It's called preparation.
It's like you're a prepper.
I'm so organized. I know exactly where everything is.
All right, now there's something I want to show you guys, right? Okay, where is my Facebook? Here it is.
Go on.
I just want to know if this is real.
Yes.
And if it is,
I'm so flexible.
yeah, like then you must be actually related to Richard, because that's like what he does in the gym. So,
I taught her how to play guard in case you didn't.
Actually, is that useful? Is Richard's flexibility useful in the relationship in anywhere else other than BJJ? I'm definitely interested to know the answer to that question.
No,
like, how can
I
you get
don't
around the
think
house?
so. Maybe you should make it useful in somewhere else.
Yeah, I can like use the computer and just like call someone at the same time. Just like,
No, you don't me. It's useful for someone
I love
else.
these socks, by the
Is
way.
that your leg or hers?
No,
I'm not sure whose leg that is.
no.
Hey, so going back to what you were saying earlier, that like you guys tend to train separately, how do you do you coordinate that? Like, how does it work? Do you just accept the fact that one night one of you is going to be home, the other one's going to be at training? Do you try and train at different locations on the same day?
No, we don't coordinate it. It's just Mary mainly trains in St Kilda. I mainly train in the city. And then sometimes we'll come to the city, sometimes I'll go to St Kilda. It's good. And we go to Collingwood as well. So with the 3 gyms is like,
So you just sort of live with you tend to still be home at the same time or training at the same time, just a different, is that what you're saying?
We don't even talk about.
Yeah, we don't really like organize it like that. It's just like, we kind of have like different schedules as well sometimes. I mainly train Nogi these days, and Mary mainly trains the gi as well, which is just like, but it's, I mean, she's probably more passionate about it now than I am. She loves it.
About training?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Mary, for the listeners that don't know, Mary recently got her blue belt earlier this year, so she was well overdue for it. Very accomplished white belt, and congratulations. So it's great to have another color belt female absolute. So congrats. How are you finding the blue belt? Are you finding it a bit of a step up? Like people much harder on you now than as a white belt?
Only Richard is and his friend, and all the girls, they are so nice to me.
Yeah.
It's like, you're a blue belt now. You should be able to take this.
Yes, I remember my first session with him when I just first got my blue belt. He almost killed me. It was so hard on me. I couldn't breathe.
You got to show him what's what every now and then.
That's right.
Every now and then, since ever.
That's right.
She can take it. She can take a beating. It's all good. I mean, look who's talking, Kim. You're a black belt. You gangster.
Yeah, well, Mary's always giving me like such a hard time. She's a great training partner. Like she's awesome she really goes
so
to things.
much, Kim.
So aggressive. So good. So good.
Yeah.
I wanted to actually, Anton, we didn't talk about this before. We didn't really plan this out. I don't know if you can share your screen and show, I think it was on Mary's page. I'm not sure. Last year during the lockdown, you guys posted a video. Oh man, it made me tear up. It was just beautiful. I don't know if you can share that, Anton, and show it, but I wanted to chat with you guys about like last year's lockdown. Like, how was that for you? Did you train jiu-jitsu together? What were you doing?
Did you?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Make sure it's the right one, man. I don't think that's the right video.
one. Okay.
There's it's all right.
Unprofessional. It was about them living together during the lockdown, so it would have been like mid last year.
Okay.
We're just going through Mary's face.
Gonna go through all Mary's videos. Yeah,
Wow.
we're not
Yeah, that this might be a breach of privacy here. I'm not sure.
Sorry, Mary.
Everyone, here's Mary's Facebook.
Yeah. Sorry, Mary. Hope you don't mind. I'm not going to scroll any further. That's beautiful. We'll just watch that for a moment.
We should have chatted about this before, sorry. But yeah, so how was the lockdown for you guys? Like, it's pretty challenging for most couples. How did you guys go? Because you live together, close. You're in the inner city, so I imagine the space you're in is quite small. So how was that for you last year?
It was fine. I mean, like, it was always just horrible because it was lockdown. Like, everyone else was, locked down as well. But I don't think we had any problems really. We got a pretty, it was cruisy actually. We were both working from home. I think that took a lot of adjusting for myself personally. And obviously the massive thing was not being able to train jiu-jitsu because, I mean, strangling people really brings a balance to all of our lives. So that was really hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was totally fine. We've got the mats here as well. We did a little bit of jiu-jitsu, a little bit of technique. Just went out for walks. North Melbourne's an amazing place to live. So yeah, that was fun for me. Mary?
I don't actually think we spend so much time together, even though we work from home.
What do you mean?
Like, we're both so busy with work, and I don't think.
It's 24 hours together, mate. What are you talking about?
But except for, you're so busy and I'm so busy.
Yeah.
No, it's true. We were pretty busy at work. We were both like working. It was totally fine. I mean, I think a lot of people had it much rougher than that. People lost their jobs and things. You can't really complain. And as soon as the gyms at least open up, that kind of, it was like, all right, everything's sort of back to normal except for travel.
Yeah. So I wouldn't mind switching over to a little bit of the like you've done a lot of reffing now, Richard, and you also touched on how like you're not as passionate about BJJ anymore. I don't know if I just made that mean something. Like, you still love BJJ like crazy, but you just don't love it as much as Marielle loves it. That's kind of what you said. But like, I'm wondering, like, getting into the world of reffing, has that shifted or changed your views about anything? Or like, is that like, what, tell me about all that stuff. I'm keen to.
No, when I mean I'm not passionate, so I'm still passionate about jiu-jitsu, but I just want to go into class and strangle people. That's it. Like, I'm not really actively trying to learn too many new things. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I just use it as a hobby and, a way of expressing myself and really just finding that balance when you're strangling people.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I'm not like Mary, for example, is always looking at like YouTube videos and learning new techniques. So she's in a different, she's in a different stage of her jiu-jitsu journey. Whereas, like, I don't really, like, I know a tiny bit and I just use that in the gym now. So there's that.
I think what you're saying, I definitely went through that at brown belt as well. It's sort of not really like a lull, but you're still interested in jiu-jitsu, but it's more I don't know how to explain it. Like, you're not watching YouTube all the time. You haven't got that like burning desire where the new blue belt is still like hungry all the time. That's how I felt as well. But it did come back again at black for me. It came back again, that sort of passion for jiu-jitsu. So.
I think it's totally fine. Like, your focus just shifts. Like, I used to compete a little bit, obviously in like the lighter belts or whatever, but I used to compete. Now I don't compete anymore pretty much. I still love doing jiu-jitsu, but it's just for fun, you know what I mean? So I don't really like, I'll pick up every now and then, I'll pick up something new, and you have to, otherwise you just get left behind. But there's not that like massive drive, like you said. And I think it's totally fine if you admit that to yourself.
I think
it's natural. I don't think you can keep that blue belt intensity for 15 years or more or whatever. Like, you'll burn out. I think it's totally normal.
And I think if you think about it like a relationship, like with another person, like, it starts off and there's lots of action and it's all raunchy and stuff, and then after a while the kind of relationship matures and it's just about you start to value different things in each other, I guess. And it's like that with jiu-jitsu over a long period of time. Like, you love it, but you love it differently to how you loved it before, and it's still no less love. It's just different love.
Whereas like Mary will learn new things like every single day. She's like on YouTube just looking at obscure videos, and I'm just like, that will never work, and she's like, no, it will.
Yes. It sounds really familiar, actually, Richard. I'm in the same boat. Yes, all the time. Yeah. So, Antoine, come on, man. You were like so keen to do the jiu-jitsu dating, scene.
Yeah, I'm really keen. I am keen. I definitely. Well, I mean, I think we've already looked a lot at that, but I also really want to know about reffing, because I see you reffing all the time. I reckon you are, I've seen you ref. Obviously, you're a very respectable ref. You do make, you make great calls. You seem very connected to what's going on out there. What's your experience as a ref like? Is it something you advise as someone's journey through BJJ to take it on, or how did you get into it? Talk a bit about it.
I refed at grappling industries quite a few times. Yeah, it's fun. It just kind of makes you look at jiu-jitsu in a different way a little bit. I mean, and just makes you like, I guess, a slightly better competitor because you learn how to play the rules.
Oh yeah.
It is also fun when you got people yelling at you for making calls, and you're like, mate, what's wrong with you? And you kind of want to lose your cool and just walk up to them, and you're like, nah, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
No, it's I don't know. Reffing's just it's just a fun way to spend a day. Really, it's kind of annoying though when your mates are competing and you're like having to ref something and you really want to look away, and you know that when you look away for a moment something's going to happen.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the annoying part about reffing. But
so what about if you're reffing for your mates who are competing, like on the mats in front of you? What's that like?
It's totally fine. Yeah, you just kind of, because everyone says like, because when you're reffing when your mate's competing, you actually kind of, because you know that everyone knows that it's your mate, therefore you're almost like it's bad for your mate because you want to do the calls to go the other way to show that you're fair.
Yeah.
So it's like it's actually bad.
I have to remember that.
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I feel like, at least, and I feel like most people at ref have that like a similar way of sort of approaching it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd rather do a competition match where the other guy is mates with the ref. And then if I lose, then I can always go, hey, it's the ref says mate.
It was rigged.
You've also got a built-in excuse as well. So it's like the best situation ever.
Yeah, makes good sense. You've
So
done it.
Anton, you wanted to do the Jiu-Jitsu dating podcast, but I feel like I've been the one to ask all the dating questions and you've asked all the Jiu-Jitsu questions. So I'm going to ask another dating question.
We can talk about the dating. What do you guys want to know?
No, but like I said, it's just something Anton's been very interested in. So I'm kind of taking the lead on it all.
You go for it.
When you
I
guys
just planted the seed, Kim. You're taking it and running with it. That's what it's all about.
You got more experience now, Kim, that you've gotten Theo into dating.
That's right.
That's true, into jiu-jitsu. Yes, that's right.
What's it like, getting a professional athlete, a lifter into jiu-jitsu? How's that working for you? Obviously, it's very similar to Mary. Mary's got similar accomplishments in the boxing world.
Yeah, it's been interesting. We struggle to actually train together, mostly because of our body size difference. I mean, there's just a massive 60-kilo weight difference between us. But I do sometimes struggle a little bit emotionally as well when we do train together. How do you guys go if you do ever sort of drill together? Or, well, Theo and I are cool to drill together, but any actual live rolling gets me too emotional. How do you go with that, especially Mary? Like, do you find yourself getting more emotional with Richard than you would with another partner? Like jiu-jitsu training partner?
No, we're literally the other way around. Happy to roll. I love watching Mary when she's rolling as well. Like she's a killer.
Yeah.
But the drilling aspect, I'd rather get her to drill with someone else. So it's funny like that.
When you guys are in class together, do you partner up or do you tend to just not avoid each other, but go more to people, say your own size or your own gender or your own belt rank? How do you?
Because we don't always train together, so when we have a chance, we will try to partner up.
Okay. Yeah.
Always.
And it goes okay. You try and like keep it together.
Yeah.
We try and keep it together. Yeah. Like that. Yeah, that's fine. Like in class is fine because it's like, it is in class, you kind of drill a couple of times and then you start rolling. But when it's like pure drilling, like Mary likes to sometimes just go for an hour. And then I'm like,
I need to nail the small details.
Yeah, well, we all do.
Do you guys partner together, Kim?
We have been during the lockdown. We've had to, drill together. But when we're in class together, it's kind of no point. I mean, half the positions we can't do on each other. I can't close my guard on him. I can't maintain mount. Like there's no point, and it's sort of no benefit to him to be with someone half his size. If he does compete and go against someone, you know, his own size, but yeah, I'm a bit the same. And I have to sort of say to him all the time, that's not going to work on someone your size. That's not going to work on someone your size. You need to do it like this. So he is like, picking it up really quickly and doing that, but it's still difficult to do the live rolling because of the size difference partly, but also the skill difference. Like it gets really frustrating.
So what if you and Mary drill and me and Theo watch? Would you be okay with that?
That would work. That would probably work. Yes, we could do
That
that.
will work.
And then you two could roll. Well, he would enjoy. Yeah, he would enjoy that too. Actually, yeah, that would be good.
I've loved the couple of roles that I have with Theo. He's amazing.
Yeah,
he's
he's very keen. Very keen.
And Anton, so what's going on in your love life?
Oh man, my girlfriend, her name is Antonina, and she lives in Russia. And so it was great. I've been to Russia 4 times before the lockdown, and it was going really well. And we, I plan to spend half my time over there, half my time. Yeah, it's still going really well.
Are you saying there's this reel right now, like Anton and Antonina?
That's right, my brother. It's just crazy. We met on Tinder. We actually met on Tinder as well. Her sister lives in her sister lives in Moonee Ponds, which is like 1 suburb away from me. And so then she was here for 2 months. So we just saw each other every day for 2 months, and we just thought it was going to be a bit casual. And then we fell in love. She's a pole dancer though, so I'll never have this kind of jiu-jitsu thing going on, right? Like she competes at pole dancing, which is really fun. I enjoy that. I enjoy watching that, I've got to say. But I don't like, one of the things which fascinates me about all of this is like I've always dreamed about jiu-jitsu relationship. You know what I mean? But then I don't think in anyone's world it works out the way that the fantasy of jiu-jitsu relationship is. I mean, it's great. Like there's all sorts of examples of it, but it's certainly like when you imagine what it's going to be like and then you end up in it, it's just, I'm sure that there's so many things to kind of that get unraveled in that fantasy when it starts to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's different as well. I think because I mean, we don't compete or anything like that anymore, really. Well, every now and then maybe, but I think when you're like super competitive, it can be a little bit more like, hey, you're both pushing each other to be like absolutely amazing or whatever. Yeah. But I mean, it's it's just one part of our lives, you know what I mean? Yeah, sure. Whereas I think the same for, yourself, Kim and Theo as well. It's a part of your life, but it doesn't consume you in the way that it does a few people.
Maybe another thing too, you guys didn't meet at jiu-jitsu. So like you met outside of jiu-jitsu and then you came to jiu-jitsu, or Richard was already there and then brought Mary along. Yeah, would that be fair to say? Introduced her. Yeah. He actually used to work, for people that don't know, Richard used to work at Absolute. He's probably responsible for maybe half the memberships there, I'd say, at least. As a
very effective closer, that's for sure. Nobody walked in that gym without a membership. That was the case.
Yes. Yeah. So what are you doing now? What do you do? Because I remember it was so sad when you left. You left probably 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago. Is that right?
A little bit less. I think like less than 2 years ago is when we've done.
Feels like longer.
Yeah, moved from managing the sales at Absolute to I now sell software to car dealerships for a US company, which is very exciting and I'm really enjoying it. And I've been doing it for about 1.5 years now. So it started just before lockdown. And yeah, it's been great. And I especially love the fact that, I've obviously still training at the gym every day and, it's become like my absolute happy place again. Yeah. Whereas obviously previously when you're working there, there's always that thing in the back of your mind, like work. Yeah. So it's great. Absolute MMA is the best place in the world.
It's so good.
Everyone should train at Absolute. If you train at another jiu-jitsu gym, just come and do a class at Absolute.
Yeah.
So we're always telling Anton we need some non-absolute people as guests. Like we're trying to like go outside of it.
Yeah. Well, what I would love to know, because we ask this of every guest, we really know with you, Marielle, where your story, but what was the first like introduction you had to BJJ? How did you discover it? Who introduced you? What hooked you about it?
Yeah, it's for you, Richard. No, for Richard.
Sorry, go again. Sorry, I thought you were asking
He's
me
zoned out.
questions.
We always ask this of our guests, so we know Marielle's story because you introduced her to BJJ. But what was your first experience of BJJ? How did you discover it? Who introduced you? What got you about it?
Right. So I did a little bit of kickbox. No, hold on. Let me just think for a moment now. So you have to do this conscription in Estonia. So you actually have to do like a short military service stint type of thing. And I did that for 11 months. And there was some guys rolling around on the ground for which they were doing jiu-jitsu. I didn't know what jiu-jitsu was at the time and I didn't jump in. But I think after that, I started doing kickboxing and met a good mate of mine, Sash, who then he sort of moved on to doing jiu-jitsu. And I put the 2 and 2 together. I was like, oh, the thing that I saw like a year ago was Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Oh. And then, just sort of followed him and did a trial class at 3D training. And then, just fell in love with it.
Yeah, right.
I think the first class was like a triangle armbar or something. I was like, shit, that's so good.
Yeah.
Was that the guy that you came over to Australia with? Because I can remember meeting you. I actually met Richard at my old club at Beans when he first came to Australia. I think you were maybe traveling around, maybe going out to the gyms in Melbourne.
Wait, Kim, were you at Beans when me and I can't.
Yeah, I was there as a white and blue belt.
Sorry, but we.
Yeah. Oh, you're showing us where Estonia is. Oh, nice. Look at us getting on tech.
But do go on because you're right in the middle of an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Sorry, were you actually like at the Beans when me and my mate? So you saw us?
Yeah.
That's great.
You trained there for a while there. Yeah. Thanks for remembering. Yeah.
We were not. I swear to God, I completely forgotten. No, so that's Mito. He's a beast. He's not the guy that originally got me into it, but we came over with him. But and I remember we did like 2 or 3 classes there, I think, which was really fun. But he's another guy. He's a black belt now. He doesn't train too often anymore, but he was a very, very good competitor, and he bashed a lot of people when he was here.
So did he go back to Estonia, or is he living elsewhere now?
Yeah, he went back. He's got a very successful business. He's a photographer, like a fashion photographer. So he went back to Estonia fairly quickly. But he was good.
He was great. He was great. Just changing tacks though, you were talking about like your work and stuff. But I wanted to ask Mary about hers because Mary's got a really cool job. Tell the listeners about what you do for work, Mary.
I just make things easy for people. When you, oh my God, I wasn't prepared for this question. Like,
your elevator pitch. Let's go. No, I'm joking. It's just
so my dad is experienced designer. So when people come to technology, I make them so they don't have to think. They can just
experience stuff.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And she won an award last year. Was it last year? Yeah. Huh? Tell us about the award. You won an award for your work last year. Yeah. What was that award? What was it for?
That is for Test Water, a water company in Tasmania. So I designed an app for them.
That's cool.
I'm a bit nervous talking about this. Basically, I just make the impact on people's life. So when it comes to technology.
That's really cool.
Awesome. Mary was not expecting this because she thought this is episode 69. We're just going to talk about sex the whole time. What are you doing? We have totally thrown her off track. So
what I would love to know. Yeah, we've only got 1 minute.
We've got 1.5 minutes. So
we've got 1.5 minutes left. I would love to know, just in a quick what brought you guys both to Australia? Because you both lived in completely separate countries. Like Marielle, what brought you to Australia in the first place?
I came here when I was high school, and my brother was here, so we studied together. Then I decided to stay here.
Awesome. And you, Richard, what brought you to
airplane?
Estonia is a beautiful place. It's right near St. Petersburg.
Just traveling, started working at Absolute, and the rest is history.
Really? Holy shit.
I love Australia. Greatest country in the world.
You just planned to stop by and you just fell in love. I love that, man. That's awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your lives, you know, and introducing yourselves to the BJJ community at large. Really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Anything you want
Thank
to
That
you
was
both.
really fun.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
we'll see you soon on the mats.
Can't
See
wait
you
to
soon.
roll.
Take care.
I'll be
See ya,
strangled by
bye.
you
Oh, the
guys.
drill.
See you later.
I haven't strangled you in a
Bye.
while, Anton.
Been too long, my brother. Let's do it. Cheers.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya. Bye.